Fresno, one of the loudest football parties in the Mountain West. Matt Wells and Utah State are the invited guests, and there's a lot on the line. It's Fresno State, it's Utah State, and it's next. Saturday nights in Fresno in the fall are usually a big party. And this is homecoming. And boy, do the Bulldogs need a homecoming. They've started the season at 1-4. Utah State, a nice win against Colorado State, is at 2-2. You just watched Boise State take care of Colorado State. Nevada a winner in the Mountain West as well tonight. Both these teams used to being at the top of their divisions. Fresno State sits at 0-2. Utah State needs a win to join number 25 Boise State atop the mountain. Hi everybody, Rich Waltz along with Adam Archuleta. Welcome here to Fresno. It is homecoming and both coaches have said the usual things. We really need a win. But both coaches all week long were talking quarterbacks. So let's start with Utah State. The bad news is Chucky Keaton's hurt again. The good news is Kent Myers is pretty good.
And this is familiar territory for Matt Wells and this Utah State Aggies football team. Kent Myers had to come in last year for the injured Chucky Keaton and did a marvelous job leading this football team. And here he came in again last week against the Colorado State Ram and had a record-setting day, 16 carries for 191 yards. Now, he can still throw the ball, but the key for this Fresno State Bulldog defense is to make sure that Kent Myers does not have that kind of day on the ground.
Quarterbacks in Fresno State, the legacy is deep. You can go all the way back to Kevin Sweeney, Trent Dilfer, the Carr brothers. So it's kind of beyond comprehension that they've had not only quarterback issues, they may start their fourth different quarterback this year. Is it going to be Kilton Anderson, the redshirt freshman? Will it be Zach Greenlee, who started and didn't play well last week?
Well, the quarterback position has been a major obstacle in the growth of the offense this season, and Zach Greenlee got the start last week against the San Diego State Aztecs, in which he led a very non-effective effort of only 89 total yards of offense. Now, it was because of that performance that prompted this coaching staff to consider playing Kilton Anderson. If he does indeed get this start tonight, this is another athletic quarterback that loves to make plays on the ground, and he's going to have to make sure he gets that ball out of his hands very quickly.
So that's a rather large question that has yet to be answered. Maybe the guy with the answer is Tim DeRuyter, the head coach of Fresno State, who's down with our Cassie Gallo. Cassie?
Well, Coach, your offense struggled last week. This week, there's been a lot of talk about your quarterback situation. Who do you go with and why?
We're going to start with Kilton Anderson. He's had a great week of practice. He brings leadership, he brings energy, and we're going to go with him.
And how do you fix the issues you had on third down last week?
Well, we got to get in manageable third downs. A week ago, we had too many third and longs. You got to play better on first and second down.
Thanks, Coach. Good luck.
No problem. Thanks.
And Rich, Utah State might be the favorite team here tonight, but there's plenty of optimism for Fresno State. They've won 8 straight homecoming games. They're 18-2 under head coach Tim DeRuyter, and the last time Utah State won here at Bulldog Stadium was 1980.
All right, thank you, Cassie. Well, that's certainly a game-time decision. It's game time, and the decision is Kilton Anderson. And Fresno State will receive Damari Scott. And it is Scott, 2 yards deep. Has a block. Scott to the 30, outside, along the sideline, may have stepped out all the way to the 40 of Utah State. It looks like he stayed in. They mark it at the 39. That's a 63-yard kickoff return, and a nice way to start homecoming for Fresno State. Chick-fil-A with the starting lineup. All right, Adam Archuleta, what will we see with Kilton Anderson?
Well, when you watch the game last week against the Aztecs, this offense had a really hard time dealing with the pass rush and, more importantly, getting the ball out. And so they hope that tonight a talented, athletic quarterback that is used to running around and using his legs will be the answer to get the ball out and avoid that pass rush.
As expected, the officials are going to look at this to see if he stepped out of bounds. Our first look. Boy, it appears as if he did, but is it clear enough to overturn from that angle? Now, the officials in the replay booth have a lot of different angles. We'll show you as many as we have. This is probably a definitive look.
Looks like he's good there.
Oh, the helmet may have blocked this left foot. Not there.
That looks good.
The next time the left foot goes down, it's obscured by a helmet on that look.
I thought it was possible that the toe stayed in bounds, but the heel stayed off the ground, which would therefore mean the call stands.
After further review, the runner stepped out of bounds at the 45-yard line. It'll be 1st and 10 for Fresno State. The game clock operator, please set the game clock for 14:54. 14:54.
That's Scott Campbell, Mountain West referee, Mountain West crew obviously here in Fresno. Now the 45-yard line is the 45 of Fresno State. On to the offense for Fresno State. So Anderson's going to be at quarterback. How do they get Martez Waller going, their running back?
It's a big part of their offense, and they really haven't been able to get Waller on track so far this season. The key is, against an 8-man box, when they bring the safeties down, you've got to hit some throws to make sure you can loosen up that front seven.
Not a lot of reps for Anderson, just the second ball he's thrown all year. It's a deep one, and it's intercepted. Devin Centers, the safety, at the 2-yard line, hauls it in. And so Anderson's first throw is a pick.
Well, this was a cornerback blitz where they brought the corner and dropped one of the safeties down to take the short route. That's just Devin Centers, who has been a big play machine here for the Utah State defense, easily playing the ball. That wasn't even close. They tried to use the talents of Damari Scott to get a big play on the first play, but that's a mistake that a young quarterback cannot make, trying to make something happen and forcing it down the field.
You saw Dave Schramm, the offensive coordinator for Fresno State. And so the Bulldogs one play turnover. They lost on the replay, and they lose the football on their first play. And now Utah State backed up against their goal line, the ball sitting at their own 2-yard line. Myers in the shotgun, and he'll throw it. On the mark, at the letters, Hunter Sharp with the catch, and Sharp is out to the 18-yard line. Chick-fil-A brings you Utah State's offense. Kent Myers is a sophomore, and boy, did he have a big week. He ripped Colorado State for 191 yards on the ground last week.
Here's the thing, when you look at Myers, he has the trust of his teammates because he's been in battle before, and he's led this football team to victory. So they don't feel sorry for themselves, and they have a lot of confidence that Myers is going to be able to run the offense the way he needs to.
This is Hunter Sharp out of the backfield, and Sharp is across the 20. It's a gain of 2. Myers is dynamic with the ball. We've already seen Sharp a couple of times.
Well, when you look at last week and now this week, Hunter Sharp was a focal point for this offense. They want to get the ball in his hands in the short screen game, get him involved in some early carries, maybe some reverses. But as the game goes on, watch out for Sharp to take off deep.
Quick screen, and it's in and out of the hands of Devontae Robinson. It'll be 3rd down and 9 for Utah State. Fresno State's defense played better last week.
On the
a
field.
lot of moving parts.
Forward pass. third down.
Nobody's moved more than Charles Washington, though.
Well, they've struggled with production at the strong safety spot through the first 4 games. And Charles Washington is a guy that has moved between corner and safety throughout his career. He's got better corner skills, but they love his playmaking ability at strong safety.
Third down, 9. Little screen pass. It's Hunt, and smelled out nicely by the Fresno State defense. Adro Eder-Aine, the senior out of Corona, made the stop.
It was a great start for Nick Toth's defense. Remember, last week, San Diego State marched down the field and ran the ball every single time en route for their first touchdown. And third downs has been a place where they have really struggled so far this season. So after a turnover, they stand up, 3 and out, give the ball back to their offense with what's going to be pretty good field position.
Damari Scott is deep. Aaron Dalton with a real nice punt. And Scott makes a fair catch, falling down at the 33-yard line. Keys to the game, Arch.
Well, they have to have a 2-dimensional run game. What I mean by that is it can't be just Kent Myers. The running backs have to play a big part of it, and you got to make Fresno State 1-dimensional. Do not allow Martez Waller to have an impact on this game. For the Bulldogs, convert third downs. 0% conversion last week against San Diego State, and I think it's pretty obvious. This offense for Utah State runs through Kent Myers. You cannot allow him to have another record-setting day on the ground. You have to force him to make throws.
Keldon Anderson, his first throw of the game, into 2 deep coverage for an interception. A little inside handoff to Waller. He's across the 40 and out across the 45 to the 46-yard line. Utah State's defense. You talk about the box. The box is pretty darn strong with this team.
And it always has been here, at least for the last 3 years anyway. The front 7 can be dominant. And Kyler Fackrell may be the most dominant defensive player here in the Mountain West. He is back after missing last year with an ACL injury and had a terrific game last week against the Rams.
49-yard line.
Keldon Anderson.
Keldon Anderson. Now, Anderson can run. He did that as a high schooler in Naples, Florida for the first 3 years of his high school career.
Yeah, this is what I would expect from him, and this is a run all the way. You see all the receivers blocking downfield. What he tried to do was act like it was a sprint-off pass to get the defensive backs to stay back, but the Utah State defense coming up and making the play.
Just shy of midfield. Waller bounces it outside, and he's stopped and planted. And it's Jontrell Rockamore, the freshman out of McKinney, Texas, who comes up with the tackle.
But trying to attack the perimeter, and right here is the key battle. Alex Fafita has to make that block on Ricky Ali-Ifua, the defensive end, but there was absolutely no softness to that corner. And Jontrell Rockamore is easily able to come up and make the play.
Loss of 2. Last week, Fresno State did not convert on third down. Third down 8 here. Anderson throwing, this one a little low. Caught there, Jordan close to the first down. Looks like he's a yard shy. Nick Vigil made the stop. It's a gain of 7. And so for Fresno State, a team that gained 12 yards all game last week, they're faced with 4th and 1.
Well, remember last week they went for it 2 times on 4th down. One of them was a 4th and 10 on their own 40-yard line. So Tim DeRuyter has shown that he does not have a problem being aggressive. And I think with the running skills of his quarterback, he wants to try and give this offense some type of excitement.
On 4th and 1, Anderson, little zone read, and Waller bursts through for a gain of 3 and a first down. Now this has to feel like an enormous success for Fresno State to move the ball like this.
Well, it's huge because last week they had so many 3 and outs, and they let the San Diego State defense dictate the tempo. So I think it's huge to get this offensive line, get them a little bit of confidence, pick up a first down, convert a 4th down. They need some energy, they need some confidence, and some excitement in this offense.
Waller again inside the 40. And he's down to the 38. Vigil makes another stop. And for Tim DeRuyter and his offensive coordinator, Dave Schramm, The fact that Waller is picking up positive yardage right now is a great sign.
And he's probably one of the, if not their best player. He's got over 2,500 career yards, 1,300 yards rushing last year. I think they have to have him be a focal point of this offense to take some pressure off the quarterback spot.
Waller again, and this time he's going to lose a yard. Rockamore with another stop.
Big difference between last week's defense, the San Diego State Aztecs, and this week's defense, Utah State. San Diego State was a very athletic front, and they did a lot of stunting, and they did a lot of movement that really hurt this offensive line and their ability to pick up blocks. This is a more stout, more of a physical group. So the offensive line is going to have to be able to fire off the ball and get movement up front to have running success.
Second possession for Fresno State. Redshirt freshman Kilton Anderson getting his first collegiate start. Waller has been the feature back, and he's going nowhere here. Back to the line of scrimmage, falls forward for a yard. And it's going to bring up 4th down and a long 4.
Well, they keep attacking that right side of the Utah State defense, trying to get Waller to the perimeter.
And it looks like they're going to go for it. Anderson a pump fake, little quarterback draw, and he's hit short of the first down, stopped at the 36, vigil again, and Utah State holds. Well, it may be the first start for a redshirt freshman, but Tim DeRuyter and Dave Schramm have gambled a couple times with Kilton Anderson.
They want to be aggressive, and they want to take advantage of what he does best. This is what his strength is being able to use his legs, but that was a heck of a reaction out there. Give a lot of credit to Nick Vigil, not going for the fake, but coming up, making a play, getting his defense off the field.
Dave Schramm counseling his redshirt freshman quarterback. Underway, homecoming, scoreless in Fresno.
College football on CBS Sports Network is being brought to you by Bayer Aspirin. Learn about the risk of a heart event at IamProHeart.com. And by Nissan, innovation that excites.
This is one of the toughest places to play on the road in the Mountain West Conference. Fresno State, whatever conference they've been in, this has always been a really, really great home field advantage. And it's Kent Myers, the sophomore quarterback for Utah State, who's making his 8th start as an Aggie. He is 6-1 as a starter in relief of Chucky Keaton, who's down with another injury. And that one in and out of the hands of Tony Lindsay, who came out of the backfield. It looked like it was a forward pass. It should be 2nd down and 10.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty interesting when we talked to Matt Wells about Kent Myers and just the offense that they ran. You know, they changed offensive coordinators. Josh Heupel came in here, installed a little bit more of a spread concept. And Chucky Keaton more proficient running that spread offense. But with Kent Myers, they said, look, we got to let him do what he does. We're not going to take that away from him. We're going to let him run the football.
Hunt with a catch. And he's close to the first down. Let's head to New York. College football update.
It's a wild one in Manhattan tonight. Trevon Boykin, 115 rushing yards, 69 yards to the house on this one. 2-point conversion good. Number 2 TCU leads K-State 45-42, getting late.
All right, thank you, Brent. There you see TCU. They've won 13 straight. Little play action. Myers deep, sharp, over his head and incomplete. He had 3 men trailing, but he did have a couple steps. That's one of the things that Josh Heupel, and you saw him there briefly, really likes about Myers is the touch on that deep ball.
Yep, and that's what he does best in terms of the passing game. He does a good job of throwing on the move when he breaks outside the pocket, but getting that ball down the field. And he has an excellent big play weapon in Hunter Sharp.
Heupel, of course, and yes, that is Oklahoma's Josh Heupel, who won a national championship in the Navy polo there. For his 2nd in the Heisman Trophy voting. 4th down and less than a yard. Quick to the line. Over the left side in a second effort by Lawan Hunt, the sophomore running back. And he's got the first down. He's out to the 47-yard line. Jeff Camilli made the stop for Fresno State.
You know, they put the nose guard, David Moala, at fullback. Look at that big number 51. He got 2 defensive linemen. Sio Taufa was the other one. So they get up to the ball extremely quickly with about 300 pounds of double fullback to try and pick up that first down. Did a good job.
There's Matt Wells, who was a quarterback himself at Utah State, his 3rd year as the head coach in Logan. Now in Fresno State territory. Myers steps through and he's caught and dropped. On a 5-man rush, Todd Hunt, the senior end, with help from Brandon Hughes.
The cornerback blitz from Nick Toast's defense. You see number 25 come off of that left side, Taekwon Glass. And when you look at this defense, they love pressure. They live by the pressure. And they thought coming into this year, they had the defensive backs in the back end to be able to send that pressure. And that's the one thing that Matt Wells talked about. We have to find a way to make sure we can handle the pressure looks that this defense gives us.
It's one of the things this defense has done really well. 16 sacks, 2nd in the Mountain West. Ball was tipped and dropped. Kennedy Williams was the intended receiver. This will bring up 3rd down and 15 for Utah State.
Well, we mentioned how Fresno State had to get better at their 3rd down conversions, and Utah State only 28% this year. That's 11th in the Mountain West, and so they've had their issues as well. But 3rd and 15, not a lot of options.
4-man rush. Myers, deep ball. Sharp is there. Sliding catch at the 16-yard line. Hunter Sharp. Taekwon Glass on the coverage.
This one-on-one coverage. Nothing fancy, no double moves. This was just all Hunter Sharp running as fast as he could down the field, and Myers puts it in the perfect place.
43 yards on the pickup. Shotgun handoff. It's Hunt busting loose into the end zone. Touchdown, Utah State. Lawan Hunt. And just like that, the Aggies are on the board first.
Well, there's no question that Josh Heupel wants to be aggressive. You've already seen this is kind of how they started out the game last week. A lot of perimeter passes, trying to get the defense to play a little soft and then throw the ball deep to Hunter Sharp. And since he's got here in the last 2 seasons, he has been a big play machine.
Brock Warren, the extra point. And Utah State has come to Fresno. And on homecoming, a big play. Kent Myers to Hunter Sharp, 43 yards. Sets up Lawan Hunt. And a 7-0 Aggie lead.
The Aggies strike the match first, and it was all because of the setup, this big play. This is Hunter Sharp. One-on-one outside with Taekwon Glass, and it's just all about speed. Glass is playing off coverage. You watch Sharp blow by him, and then there's that deep ball from Kent Myers to get them down the field. Then the very next play, attacking the right side, you got to be able to keep contained. There's number 19 out there, Brandon Hughes, gets blocked, and that is an easy touchdown. 1-2 punch. Hunter Sharp, Lawan Hunt for the first points of the game.
Remember, Utah State and both these teams played very ambitious non-conference schedules. A close loss at Utah and a loss on the road to Washington. Both those losses look a heck of a lot better now, and certainly were painful when they happened. But a bounce-back win over Colorado State and a first strike here at Fresno State. Scott forced to the back of the end zone. And the Bulldogs will take a knee. Now, if you're Dave Schramm, the offensive coordinator, there's a look at Schramm, who's had some great offenses here. This is his 4th season at Fresno State. How do you handle Kilton Anderson and get this redshirt freshman in rhythm?
Well, I think you have to do what you started out doing. Maybe not throw the ball downfield and give Devin Centers a punt return to catch. But it's going to be the quick passing game. And you have to find a way to get these defensive backs and these safeties to back off a little bit, because you're going to have to run Martez Waller and Dustin Garrison. They're going to have to be a focal point of this offense. But these short passes, they got to be able to convert, get some yards after the catch, and try and make something happen.
Garrison and Meisenheimer, and this is Dustin Garrison across the 25. It's a gain of maybe 2. Well, LT Filiunga made the stop.
They keep trying to get the ball and run it to the outside of the left side behind Alex Fifita and Aaron Mitchell, but that's not working. You've seen time and time again the Aggies able to come up, force that football. You have to go somewhere else in the running game. The left side just isn't there.
It was Fifita and Mitchell. And on 2nd down and 9. Anderson looking, running. Now, he ran a run-based offense when he was a freshman, sophomore, and junior in Naples, Florida. His family moved across the country and ended up in a suburb of Seattle named Sammamish. Skyline High School is known in the Northwest as a football power and a very progressive passing offense. So he got a season there, and he ended up as a starter for a dynamite team, and that's where he caught Fresno State's eye.
Well, in what he does well again is be able to run that football. But they love the way he was able to pick up that offense. Now, he's still raw, and he's still learning how to read defenses. You got to remember, he's only a freshman here in his very first start of his collegiate career, so it's going to have to come along slowly.
Blitz is chasing him, and the throw was behind his receiver. Josiah Blandon, the intended receiver. And there have been many teachable moments already with Kilton Anderson tonight.
Well, it's obvious that Dave Schramm wants to try and get him moving and getting those sprint out passes and throwing on the run, trying to take advantage of that skill set. And I think it's going to take some settling down. Remember, it's not just him trying to learn this offense, but they have a lot of young wide receivers. They're still trying to establish chemistry. And when you have so many different players playing quarterback throughout the season, it's really hard to get everybody on the same page.
Cody Swanson with the kick. Hunter Sharp is deep. And a bounce for Utah State heads back towards midfield. And they'll have great field position at their own 46-yard line. 7-0. The Aggies on the road in Fresno on homecoming. Take a timeout. Utah State with the football near midfield when we return. Utah State, a 7-0 lead here in Fresno. Matt Wells and the Aggies very good on the road, and you see his numbers 21 and 11. This is a program that's been to 4 consecutive bowls. They've won the last 3, and on the road, Adam Archuleta, really, really good.
Yeah, 2 things that are very difficult to do in football. One is win on the road, the other is win with a backup quarterback. And he has shown that he's been able to do both. So it tells you a lot about that staff, how they develop these players, and how as a team they're able to respond to adverse conditions.
We told you about Fresno State at home, and under Tim DeRuyter, 11-1 in Mountain West Conference games. And this is a Fresno State Bulldog team that the last 3 years has had a piece of each Mountain West championship, either an appearance in the championship game, got out to midfield, and a couple of Mountain West championships as well. Devontae Mays on the carry.
I think it's critically important here for Fresno State's defense to kind of stand up. You know, they did a very good job in their first game after their offense gave Utah State the ball. But you let a big play get behind you and then another quick score after that. So you got to settle these things down and make sure you get off the field and not allow Utah State to double up on points.
That was Damian Hobbs who was in to take the snap at quarterback. Hobbs will see time. He is a big runner, and Utah State told us they want to use Hobbs to maybe take some of the pounding off of Myers.
Yeah, I think it's smart because as good as Myers is, you know, he's your guy, and you need him to be healthy the entire season. So if a guy like Hobbs can come off of the bench and give you the same amount of athletic ability, then you better use him.
On 3rd down and 5, and no escaping there. Great open field tackle. That saves a first down and will get Fresno State the ball. It's Robert Stanley who made the stop.
Yeah, one-on-one, and you've got to be able to make those types of plays when your number is called. Robert Stanley, it's just him and the running back, or excuse me, just him and the quarterback. As that hole opens up, and an excellent open field tackle. Nicely done.
There's a flag down at the Fresno State 42-yard line. And a great play by Stanley. Long conference by the officials.
After the play was over, unsportsmanlike conduct, number 4, Utah State. Unsportsmanlike conduct, number 24, Fresno State. Those penalties will offset. Down counts. 4th down.
So 2 flags, no mark off, and
that is the first UNS unsportsmanlike conduct for both those players.
Keep that in mind as well, because they keep track of that. 4th down, right at midfield, and Aaron Dalton will punt it away. Damari Scott is deep at his own 10-yard line. A good defensive stand by Fresno State. It's going to land at the 5, and into the end zone it goes. It was batted, but not illegally. 7-0 Utah State on the road and on top.
Brent Stover in New York. Trevon Boykin 55 yards to Josh Doxson for second-ranked TCU's game-winning touchdown to beat K-State 52-45. And Miami has just gone in front of Florida State. Stacy Coley, beautiful catch. The Canes lead 24-23. Also, guys, Michigan State tied with Rutgers with 4 to play, 24-all.
All right, thank you, Brent. Boy, wouldn't that be a Charlie Strong-like moment for Al Golden if Miami wins that game? And we saw that with Texas and Charlie Strong today.
They need it, and sometimes, you know, you have to have those wins. Right in the middle of the season, when things haven't been going right, everybody, it seems, in the world is against you. That's when you got to be at your best.
Not much has gone right so far for Fresno State. First college start for Kilton Anderson, a redshirt freshman. Movement and flags. Edmund Faimalo, the junior out of Riverside. The question is, was he drawn?
Ball starts. 76. Offense. 5-yard penalty. Still 1st down.
That's Scott Campbell, the Ed Hockley of the Mountain West.
You didn't just go there, did you?
An intimidating referee.
I got to tell you, I'm not sure I saw it. They tried to get Alex Fafita, the left tackle, but I didn't see that.
Blitz coming. And straight ahead, it's Waller. He's got a gain of maybe 2. Martez Waller, the senior running back. Fresno State, a dynamic offense under Dave Schramm. A couple of those years, of course, with Derek Carr. Last year, Brian Burrell was their starting quarterback. And then injuries. Jason Virgil, Ford Childress. Zach Greenlee started last week, and he was not effective. So Anderson starts this week. He's rolling right on 2nd down. And his throw is dropped. Jameer Jordan, the intended receiver.
Well, I think it's going to be tough if they continue to run these sprint out passes, because right now Kevin Clune, the defensive coordinator, is sending the pressure to the side they're trying to sprint out. And if you don't have a counterpunch, and if you can't go somewhere else, and the defense knows that you're going to be predictable, it's going to be awfully tough for this Bulldog offense to move the ball down the field.
First school in FBS this year to start 4 different quarterbacks. And they're 0 of 3 on 3rd down. They were 0 of 12 on 3rd down last week at San Diego State. Anderson shotgun, and it looks like Fresno State took too long, or did they get a timeout before the flag?
Delay a game. Offense. 5-yard penalty. Still 3rd down.
Last year, of course, Utah State was a team that had 4 different quarterbacks. With success, I might add. I mean, Utah State last year, all they did was win 10 games, and their 3rd straight bowl win.
So it can be done.
It can be done.
You just got to have the right guy at that 4th quarterback spot.
This is 3rd down and a bunch. A lot to ask for a redshirt freshman quarterback. And a blitz is coming. He's swallowed up at the 2-yard line. Marwin Evans, the senior safety, and it's marked at the 3.
Yep. This is just a bust in protection. Marwin Evans comes in scot-free. There was somebody flashing up inside, and I think that's where Martez Waller, you see he goes in there at the very last second, and that's what allows the free access by Evans to get to the quarterback. So, again, the offense really out of sync right now. Penalties, having a tough time.
Swanson, a floating punt, sharp. Hit as the ball got there. Flags are down. Ball's recovered. Fresno State has it, but this is going to be a penalty. Sharp is on his feet and jogging to the sideline.
Here's the question, was he pushed into the returner? You're going to see right there at the end, number 10 push him into the receiver. Now, it wasn't very hard, but that's going to be what the officials are going to have to sort out.
Jaron Colston Green is the Utah State player. Josiah Blandon is the Fresno State defender. You can see Tim DeRuyter is right now lobbying for the push.
There's no foul on the play. The kicking team, Fresno State, recovered the puck. It's going to be first down, Fresno State.
And a great call by Adam Archuleta.
Yeah, it was fairly evident right there. You see the outstretched arms right in the back of that number 15 jersey.
Does he hit him without the push, though? I mean,
it doesn't matter. The fact of the matter is he pushed him. His hands were right there in the back, and you can't expect an official to sit there and decipher on whether or not he pushed him hard enough.
So a big break for Fresno State. Anderson, a quick strike to Jordan, who's up the sideline for a 10-yard pickup. And all of a sudden, Fresno State has a little bounce in their step.
Yeah, they need it. They have to capitalize. This is huge. And these talented wide receivers and these running backs, when they get a chance in space, they've got to be able to make something happen. They may not be able to throw the ball down the field, but when you throw it short, you've got to make people miss and pick up yards.
Anderson shotgun. It was a gain of 10, 1st and 10. Another short throw. Jordan, acrobatic catch. And he's hauled out of bounds by Kyler Fackrell, the senior linebacker, the preseason defensive player of the year in the Mountain West Conference. No gain on the play.
Rich, this is a very young but a very talented wide receiver core, and they've really struggled with chemistry within their offense, due mainly to a lot of injuries in the offseason. But if you could find a way to get the ball to Damari Scott and Jameer Jordan and Keyshawn Johnson, they've got to make plays.
Inside handoff, and Waller falls forward for the first down. Fackrell made the stop. It's a 5-yard pickup.
Well, that was a good job inside by Nick Vigil, because if he didn't spin out of this block, then this would have been a touchdown all the way. But he gets right there in the way of the lineman and clogs everything up.
Anderson pulls it, fires it, end zone, touchdown, Jameer Jordan. One big thing goes right, and the redshirt freshman all of a sudden has some rhythm, has some confidence, and a touchdown throw. Well, the whole complexion of this game shifted when they picked up that flag on the punt return. And Tim DeRuyter's Bulldogs have tied it at 7.
Well, here's what started it. A penalty pushed into the punt returner, which made him muff it. And then what you have to do is be able to capitalize. A perfectly ran route trying to isolate one of your best wide receivers on a backup safety, Dontrell Rockamore, and then on the run, Kilton Anderson strikes for the Bulldog offense.
Well, that has to feel good for a redshirt freshman, 4th different starting quarterback. And this is game 6 for Fresno State. And you noted if you can get the ball to the Johnsons, the Jordans, the Hardaways, the Scotts, the Blandons. Just 4 plays after that reversal on the call. And Anderson's got a touchdown pass. A 7-7 game. Kevin Clune, defensive coordinator for Utah State. And a good one. He was at Hawaii last year.
But you always kind of felt like, even though he was in Hawaii, that his heart was always in Logan. And he's always had a great relationship with that linebacker core.
We told you at the outset, these two teams are used to being at the top of their divisions, the Mountain and the West Division in the Mountain West. And they found themselves in the Mountain West Championship game, and it was here on this field in 2013. Derek Carr threw 3 touchdown passes. Craig Harrison threw a pick late. Matt Wells and the Aggies fell just short. Bulldogs won it 24-17. The last time Utah State won here, 1980.
Remember, Rich, in that Mountain West Championship game, Devontae Adams was on the field as well, and we know what kind of success he has had with the Green Bay Packers, but he let up that Aggie defense that night.
Now Utah State will try to get some yardage and get some of their own mojo back on offense. We have seen Dave Schramm by Kilton Anderson's side since the two teams came out before the kickoff, and he hasn't left. If he's off the field, Schramm is right next to him.
Last week against the Aztecs, the offensive line was under heavy fire from a lot of exotic looks and blitzes, and they looked ill-equipped to handle that pass rush. I think they're doing a better job of using the athletic skills of Anderson to negate the pass rush for the Aztecs.
2nd and 8, and Myers' throw leads Hunt a little too far, and he has to dive and make the catch. It'll bring up 3rd down. Final seconds, 1st quarter. Utah State struck first. A big play. Myers to Sharp set up the first score. But Fresno State and Kilton Anderson have answered.
The end of the first quarter.
Homecoming in Fresno, 7-7 after 1.